रुक गया है, तेरे आगे झुक गया है। जब कभी ऐसे कोई मस्ताना निकले है अपनी धुन में दीवाना, शाम सुहानी बन जाते हैं दिन इंतजार के। ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही, रुक जाना नहीं तो कहीं हार के, कांटों पे चल के मिलेंगे साए बाहर के। रुक जाना नहीं तो कहीं हार के, कांटों पे चल के मिलेंगे साए बाहर के। ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही।
Hello, all of you. Welcome to this class for tax invoice. Thank you so much for all of you who made it today for both the classes. Morning we have taken total income class. There also you have attended now, and your comments are really motivating. That's why I'm saying that surely once we complete the portion, we can do the chapter wise GST exam also in a very planned way. For that, some other day I'll give instructions. आज Saturday evening है और इसको छोटा सा topic है. Some of the students, it takes a lot of daring to attend these classes. What are these classes? GST ITC, yes ma'am, we have attended 3 classes. Value of supply हो गया. Supply, levy, composition, we know everything. These are the topics which are generally ignored. Or if you unnecessarily dive into it over detail, it's of no use. So today, one single class with around 10 to 11 good quality, good problems already asked in past exam, we will cover up all the documentation part. Only what is required we will do. Last 2-3 exam, like last exam, as the QR code came in, they said write a short note. E-invoicing, what are the cases wherein e-invoicing is not required? So like this, whenever new amendments are coming, right now much amendments are not there here. Yeah, so quickly we will start with this material. I hope you all are having the printout so that you can write the answers. Every time, I think all challengers group mein, telegram group mein, everywhere you are able to find the message. If anyone listening to me right now has missed the DT class for total income, do attend it. Already it has got tremendous response, and thank you. All your comments are really, really motivating. But one very important thing why I'm asking is the first 15 minutes I have dived into what are the common mistakes. We do it while doing the paper in 3 hours when all the chapter wise knowledge is clubbed. So those pitfalls you can avoid if you are aware about it. है ना? ठीक है? So that's what we have done today morning. So do check up the video, and very nice level of total income problems we have covered up. If you feel you want to cover up more total income problem, message me. We'll surely take that in the live class. Provided the live chat box is buzzing with the messages, so many of you are doing now in Zoom and saying thank you for all the classes and this. Thank you to you also for trusting me. Let us aim now that when the learning is so good, let us do chapter wise writing practice. Daring karke likh dena. Don't be scared कि if I don't get good marks in one exam, I'll be demotivated. खुद कैसे demotivate होंगे? हम थोड़ी अपने आप को demotivate करते हैं कभी. So it's all in our mind, and we are bigger than our environment. चलो. Already these documents we have introduced yesterday. So directly with that only screen sharing, I'm starting the topic. Okay. As I'm sharing this, I'm reminded that I have covered e-way bill yesterday. Was it clear to all of you? Whenever each consignment crosses 50,000, you have to issue e-way bill. For every invoice, separate e-way bill is required. Then the transporter can combine it. E-way bill is to be issued either by the supplier or the recipient. Some cases, it can be issued by the transporter. It is mandatory to issue e-way bill right when the goods are moving. Before the movement starts, e-way bill is basically tapping कि कोई बिना bill के goods move तो नहीं हो रहे ना, right? Because even if you decide that okay, I will send you the goods with invoice, हाँ हाँ ठीक है, आपको मिल गया ना रानी, आपको goods मिल गए, yeah, then you also tear the invoice, I will also cancel it. But if the goods have moved, there is a way bill and there is all the detail. So to avoid the evasions and to increase the compliances, this concept is started, and the limit above which e-way bill is necessary is 50,000. This 50,000 includes for the consignment the amount of GST also. CGST, SGST, दो जो भी है, ठीक है, right? And then up to 200 kilometers, it is counted per day. So if you're traveling 650 kilometers, 650 divided by 200. That's the validity of the way bill. Generally, way bill का validity change नहीं होता है unless for very specific reason you have taken the permission of the commissioner and all that. So yesterday I have told you the way bill limit 50,000. Today I'll tell you the limit for the e-invoice and the QR code, and then we will write all this at one place so that we have this with us. Chalo. Only important points I'm making you write so that same writing practice goes in your answer sheet. List of the documents which are used in GST. Okay. So one by one, let us do it now. Hope all of you have taken these notes so that now I can start with tax invoice. Okay, some of you were asking when I wrote B2C, ma'am, what is B2B and B2C? Kya hai? Would anyone like to add in the chat box what is B2B and what is B2C? B2B is नहीं पता है तो कल पूछा क्यों नहीं while writing? B2B is okay. Head office branch like that beta, that is input service distributor. जो input services लेता है advertisement and then they distribute. B2B is business to business transaction wherein, yeah, now you are right. Business to business transaction, yeah, same level of the people, wherein both are registered supplier. Both are registered supplier means the seller and the buyer are doing business. Okay, so B2B, it is mandatory to have e-invoice and all this. Is chapter में हम पढ़ेंगे. Oh, I wrote it in between. Is it revised tax invoice के बीच में मैंने लिख दिया? नहीं, तो हम नीचे जाके लिखेंगे इसको. Because these are running notes ना, कल हमने लिखे थे 8 documents हमने किए थे. और एक 9th भी ऐड होगा इसमें, पेमेंट का डिटेल. और यहाँ पे लिखो B2B is business to business transaction. Because few documents, dear students, what I'll teach you are necessary for B2B. Few are necessary for B2C beta. ठीक है, तो ये लिख के रखो कि business to business transaction में both are registered supplier and registered recipient. है ना? चलो. Then ma'am, what is B2C? B2C is business to consumers. So many times we see, consumer is not even bothered about invoice. उसको कितने बार, when we go to supermarket, we take 2 packets, अरे जल्दी से cash ले लो, change दे दो, निकल जाते. Bill print होने का भी we are not waiting. Because we are not bothered to check what is TIN number, who is charging how much GST and all. Consumers को कोई ITC नहीं मिलता. So here usually the supplier is registered, so he has to issue a tax invoice, but the consumer is unregistered, उसको कोई मतलब नहीं है tax invoice, that kind of transaction is called as B2C. Okay, very to the point, crisp knowledge, and very quickly with examples we will complete this. So I have given you yesterday 8 type of the document. Today I'll talk in detail for each one of them. Let us start with tax invoice. Tax invoice, 50% of the portion of section 31 we have already covered in time of supply. Time of supply will tell you कि GST कब charge करना है. So for time of supply, it is necessary to issue the invoice in time. Okay, right? So tax invoice, when you should issue, that is given in section 31. Yesterday I made you write all the documents in sequence. Today we are seeing the notes along with that. So very quickly start with your 10th and 12th chapter I have clubbed and taught here. Huh? For CMA students it's all together. For CA students, like you all have this way bill as a separate chapter 12. I have clubbed this all together. Okay? चलो साथ में करते हैं. So a lot of importance is there of tax invoice and all. Based on that, they can claim the credit and all that. You can read basic information. Now, provisions relating to tax supplier. The supplier, registered supplier should issue the tax invoice before removal of the goods when movement is there. I have to send you the goods. So when the movement is starting from supplier's place to the transporter, from transporter to the buyer, in that case, before the removal of the goods itself, invoice should be issued. I hope practically you know that when goods are supplied from one place to another in auto or truck or any vehicle, then definitely invoice will be there with that. Hai na? Now, or if there is no movement of goods, then before delivery of the goods or making available thereof to the recipient. So many times I'm saying, oh buyer, if you want to buy the goods, जाके मेरे दुकान से लेके जाओ. I'll not give you. So when you deliver the goods at your own place, at supplier's place, that time invoice should be given. Or, one second, huh, dear students, so sorry. Okay. Or another case is making the goods available at the place of recipient. Nowadays, the model of the goods which are supplied are called as CKD, SKD. What is CKD and SKD? Google nahi karna hai. What is CKD? Complete knockdown, semi knockdown. The best example we can give is during constructions. When lifts are assembled, you know, all the parts of the lift, they are taken to the place of the recipient. There it is assembled. Once it is assembled, then it is made available to the recipient. Okay, right? So before that, the invoice should be sent. Clear to all of you? So what's the time when invoice should be generated by the supplier? If the goods is having movement of the goods, then before the goods are removed from my store or go down or factory, invoice should be prepared. If I'm not giving the delivery, okay, right, at your place, but I'm giving it here, then before we give the delivery. Example, you can check. Rim Traders Hyderabad supplies goods to Delhi. The goods were removed from Hyderabad on 28th of October, and suppose they reached Delhi on 29th of October. So the day goods are removed from our place, that's the day invoice issuing is mandatory. The basic question comes in our mind, ma'am, agar nahi diye invoice to kya? Yeah, you know, usually we feel like if we don't comply, then what? Then if there is no compliance, okay, then in that case, removal of the goods. If there is no compliance, okay, in that case, there is no penalty, okay, per day 100 rupees penalty and all that. But you will not be able to fix up the time of supply. Time of supply is when you should charge the GST if invoice is issued before the goods are removed. Followed or not? Removal in relation to good means dispatch of goods for delivery by the supplier or any other person, or collection of the goods by recipient thereof on behalf of the recipient. ठीक है. Tax invoice should include revised invoice also. अब revised invoice क्या है? I'll tell you coming 5 minutes में, and that question has been asked 3 times. I'm just teaching this topic weightage wise. Still, if you have any doubt, comment below, ask. Sahaj Limited entered into contract with Pranav Traders for supply of machine on 10th. Spare parts were delivered on 30th. 10th को हमने decide किया we will sell you. 30th we delivered. Sahaj Limited removed the parts on 29. From my factory, the goods were sent on 29. You received it on 30th. Determine the date by which invoice must be issued by Sahaj. 29. The day goods are removed, when there is movement, the day it is removed, that's the day when invoice should be issued. Very beautiful small MCQs are prepared here. Okay. What should be the date of invoice as per section 31 in case of continuous supply of goods? I already gave in detail the example of water bottles. Huh? So 20 liters of drinking water we call for our academy, and every month, third of the month, they give us the bill. इस महीने जितने भी आए हैं. So that is the date of invoice. Or every fifth I should pay them. So payment or invoice. समझ में आ रहा है? Because it goes on continuously. So continuous supply of goods means supply of goods. So many places the cooking gas and all is also supplied through pipeline. Okay, so it is continuous. It includes supply of goods as government may decide and all. Okay. In case of continuous supply where successive statement of accounts or successive payments are involved, invoice should be issued. Underline, this is most important. Before or at the time of each statement is issued, say that is 3rd of April, or as the case may be, each payment is made. कि 5th के पहले आप पे कर देना. तो स्टेटमेंट कब मिलना? 3rd को. पेमेंट कब है? 5th को. Whichever is applicable. It's not whichever is earlier here, ना बेटा. It's not earlier. ऐसा नहीं है. Either successive statements. Okay, that every 5th you get a statement in your mail. So that's the date. Or successive payment. That's the date they will send the invoice. Okay. In case of services now. अच्छा, गुड्स में और भी 2 छोटे केसेस हैं, उसको पहले कर लेते हैं. या गुड्स विच आर सोल्ड ऑन अप्रूवल बेसिस. इफ यू लाइक यू कीप इट और एल्स रिटर्न. देन इन दैट केस where the goods being sent or taken on approval, they are removed before the supply takes place. Invoice shall be issued before or at the time of supply. यहाँ पे लिखो acceptance by the recipient. See, when I send the goods on approval basis, I am not liable to send the invoice. Let me take an example from the supply chapter, dear students. We have done, I am sending 5 of my paintings to the gallery. Are the paintings sold? No. I've just sent it there. कि ठीक है, जब सेल होगा, that time we will treat it as supply. अभी रख लो. So, when it is accepted by the recipient, that is the time when invoice should be issued, or 6 months from the date of the removal. इसके लिए we have solved problems also in the time of supply. I am doing little fast only here. If you want, you can write here, refer examples in time of supply. वहां जाके देखोगे goods sold approval हर एक के लिए एक example available. So where goods are being sent on approval for sale or return or removal. So before or at the time of supply doesn't mean when I send you. It means when you accept. 2 minutes. Huh? Are you also able to get some extra noise? Is it? Was that noise disturbing? Okay. So in case of goods sold on or 6 months from the date of removal. If I have sent you the goods on 1st June 23 plus 6 months, जून पूरा हो गया, जुलाई, सितंबर, अक्टूबर, नवंबर, दिसंबर. 1st June, no? So June, July, August, September, October, November. 1st December. 1st December is the date when invoice will be issued. Clear to all of you? Some of you may be remembering 31st day and 61st day. That will not come here. वो टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई में आएगा आरसीएम के केस में. चलो, नाउ in case of services. Thank you so much. You all know now कि in between if you write all clear, I know that until now it is all clear. Chalo. In case of services, there is no movement of goods and blah blah. So when the invoice should be issued within 30 days from the date of the supply. Okay. In case of insurance company, banks, NBFCs, within 45 days. Otherwise, within 30 days of the service. A registered person supplying taxable service shall issue before or after the provision of service, but within a prescribed period, 30 days from the date of supply of service. आपको दे देना है, ठीक है? चलो. Issuance of invoice in case of continuous supply of services. I'm giving you coaching for the last 4 months. Then what is the date of invoice? Continuous supply of services. Best example is annual maintenance contract. साल भर का we give the AMC. So a supply of service which is provided or agreed to be provided continuously or on recurrent basis for a period exceeding 3 months and includes the supply of service as government may decide, then in that case, what is the time limit for invoice? Normal service within 30 days of the provision of service, you should give the invoice, or else within 45 days. But where due date of payment is ascertainable from the contract. From the contract of continuous service, for example, mobile phones. मोबाइल फोन्स का आपको पता है कि बोलते हैं कि पोस्ट पेड में मंथली बिल भेजते हैं, बट आई कॉल इट एज चीटिंग. But actually it is like every 28 days or every 30 days. So even if it is 31, one day ahead, you'll be getting your bills. So that is like continuous service in postpaid bills. So due date is decided. Or sometimes, for example, I give my clothes every day for laundry and ironing and all. And we have decided 5th of the next month, I'll make the payment. समझ में आ रहा है? So if 5th is payment, that's the date of the invoice. Yeah. If it is continuous service, for example, I'm teaching you a crash course and I'm saying I don't want the fees now. On the last day of the crash course, when crash course is over, you all should pay the fees. Huh? Fees देना है, आपको पता है ना? That is by never giving up attitude. Invoice shall be issued on or before the date of completion of that event. If I have told you that we are giving you continuous service of coaching, of DT, IDT, costing, all, the day we complete the crash course, you have to make the payment. So that's the day. फिर से एक बार. In case of continuous service, when the invoice should be issued, where due date of payment is ascertainable from the contract, invoice shall be issued on or before the due date. Where due date is not ascertainable, then on the date he receives the payment. When the payment is linked to completion of the event, invoice shall be issued on or before the date of the completion. अच्छा है. Rohan Limited entered into annual maintenance contract for repairs of machine fitted in factory. As per the contract, payment of service has to be made on 7th. However, Soham Limited made the payment. So we had made the contract, yearly contract ki by 7/7/7 आपको pay करना होगा. So 7th is the date when tax invoice should have been issued. Ma'am, can we issue the tax invoice before the time? Answer is yes. Very well. No problem. Sometimes, we are giving continuous services and for some reason, The supply of the service ceases before its completion. I decided to give continuous service, but then for some reason the continuous service is discontinued. Okay, in that case, will you wait? No, no. जब payment का date आएगा, जब due date आएगा, the invoice shall be issued at the time when supply ceases, and invoice shall be issued to the extent of the supply made before such cessation. The day you stopped giving the service, that's the day. Till then issue the invoice. So here we complete the first part, that document says who can issue the tax invoice? Registered supplier. In case of goods, when movement is there, removal of goods. In case movement is not there, then delivery of the goods. Continuous supply of goods, then either payment or statement date. I usually make students remember like this. ऐसे लिख दो, स्टेटमेंट का डेट और पेमेंट का डेट, जो भी क्लियर है, नॉट जो भी अर्लियर है. ओके. In case of service, what's the time limit to issue the invoice? 30 days. In case of insurance, banks and all, 45 days. Continuous supply, these three examples I gave now. And if the supply is stopped in between, then the day it is stopped. If goods are sold on approval basis, then the date is accepted, or 6 months from the date of removal. Jahan khatam ho gaye, the very next day of the 6 months. Okay. This tax invoice is to be issued on time, because your time of supply will be invoice date or payment date, whichever is earlier. If invoice is issued on time. If invoice is not issued on time, forget it. Usko corner mein dal do. Provision of service or payment, whichever is earlier. And in case of supply of goods, advance money received, no GST is charged. But in case of supply received, supply of services, like you book a function hall, then on advance also GST is charged. Ma'am, but at the time of advance, I don't know what will be the nature of service, intrastate or interstate. Treat interstate. Ma'am, what will be the GST rate? 5%, 12%, 18, 24. कुछ नहीं मालूम, take 18%. Who said this? Act. समझ में आ रहा है? ये आएगा अभी आगे. Now, so the first document we have covered until now is tax invoice. Is my speed little fast or clear to all of you? Please बोलो. हमने अभी तक 3 तो प्रॉब्लम्स भी कर लिए साथ साथ. There are around 11-12 past exam questions here. Contents of tax invoice. Thank you that you're following and the speed is okay. Sure. Okay. Now contents of tax invoice, contents of debit note, credit note, receipt voucher. ये कल बहुत documents का list I have given you. So once I'll talk about it, then almost all the same. So tax invoice should have written on the top, it's a tax invoice. Because if I issue the tax invoice and you are a registered recipient, you can claim tax credit. बात समझ में आ रही है? So name, address, GSTN, consecutive serial number, invoice number, containing alphabets, numerals, special character, dash, slash, all, date of issue, name, address, GSTN. अगर GSTN नहीं है तो unique identification number होगा of the recipient, name and address of the recipient and address of delivery, along with name of the state and code. If recipient is unregistered and where the value of supply is 50,000 or more. If the recipient is unregistered and where value is less than 50,000, then recipient request till they can give all the details. Where taxable services supplied by or through e-commerce operator or online data access retrieval services, जो Google Drive और वो सब है. Then recipient who is unregistered, the value, tax invoice, name, contain, pin code, sub, HSN code, 4 digit, 6 digit, description of the goods, quantity, count also, boxes, kgs, total value, taxable value, taking into account discount and all, rate, amount of tax should be separately shown. This is asked in MCQs. Can I make an registered tax invoice in the name of Rehan Limited? 1 lakh goods sold to you inclusive of 18% GST. No. In taxable supply, whatever GST I have charged, I have to show separately. 1 lakh is the sale value, 18% is the GST, 1 lakh 18,000. So GST ka rate and amount mandatorily you have to show separately in the tax invoice. This can be asked in MCQ. Isko 5 star khilao. Place of supply along with the name of state in case of supplying course of interstate, address, whether the tax is payable on RCM or not, signature of the supplier or representative, not required in e-invoice. E-invoice में कोई signature की जरूरत नहीं है क्योंकि वो तो पोर्टल आप e-invoice मतलब आप ही generate करोगे tally में ही, but then it is you get all the IRN number and all. Quick response code having been embedded invoice reference number in it in case of e-invoice. What is e-invoice? I'll tell you. But in every e-invoice, there is a unique code also, which the recipient can scan and make the payment. All bank details, other UPI details, all. Okay, this is also asked in MCQ. HSN code will decide the category in which your goods is liable for GST. And what is the rate charged? Is it exempt, nil rate, zero rate? I told you, like, if it is alcoholic liquor for human consumption, it's not a GST goods. But if it is liquor for medicinal use or sanitizer, it comes in medicines. There are so many shampoos which comes in cosmetics. And there are so many specific shampoos given by your doctor, prescribed by specific doctor. They come under medicines. So GST rate will be different in cosmetics. It will be different in medicines. Is this clear to all of you? Right? So HSN code. Okay. All these notes are already sent to Telegram, I guess. Yeah. So I hope that's not the doubt with some of you watching now. Because where I'm saying isko star mark karo, aap karo. So that one day before exam, when you are scrolling, 15 minutes and the tax invoice topic is over, including e-waybill. Registration is over. ITC, you give 1 hour. No problem. Clear to all of you? Right. Now I'm here to clear all your doubts, but मैं अगर लिखा रही हूँ MCQ तो आप भी लिखो. If the annual turnover of the preceding financial year, I call it preceding previous year, is less than 5 crores, okay, then for B2B, it is 4 digit, right? If it is more than 5 crores, B2B, it is 4 digit, B2C, it is optional, HSN code. HSN code से पता चल जाता है कि what is the rate and many things are clear. Now here, it is B2B and B2C. Okay. If your turnover exceeds 5 crores, 6 digit HSN code is required. Less than 5 crores, 4 digit. More than 5 crores, 6 digit. I think there are too many numericals in GST. So we should today write it everywhere. अलग-अलग everywhere क्या at a place. एक जगह पे इसको एक साथ लिख लेंगे. ठीक है? आज लिखेंगे last. Now, how many copies of invoice should be prepared? This is also asked in MCQ. Because in case of goods, there is movement of goods 3 copy. Original for the recipient, duplicate for the transporter, triplicate for the supplier. Services mein there is no middleman, transporter, then original for the recipient, duplicate for the supplier. ठीक है? Right? Okay. Serial number to be furnished electronically. The serial number of invoice issued during a tax period shall be furnished electronically through the portal, and it has to be in sequence. You can't have one invoice 150, second one 153. You are answerable. 151, 152 कहाँ गए? सो गए. Right? Yeah. Yes, Ayush. What is your doubt? You have some doubt? Or you are understanding the video, not understanding, ask me. चलो, ई इनवॉइसिंग ई-वे बिल भी कल किया था, उसके साथ क्यूआर कोड थोड़ी देर बात करेंगे. वी आर डूइंग ऑल द डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. So this is QR code is not a document. We'll do little later. अभी हम पहले डायरेक्ट करते हैं all other documents. Are you all with me? Okay, listen to me. Tax invoice should be issued within fixed time. Clear to all of you? Yeah. In case of goods, in case of services, in case of goods sold on approval basis. And tax invoice में क्या क्या होना है? HSN code should be there 4 digit. If your last year's turnover is less than 5 crore. If it is more than 5 crore means e-invoice लगेगा. E-invoice लगेगा तो 6 digit. HSN code it is necessary to issue by the supplier to get the proper rates and other details. Okay. Now I'm talking about revised tax invoice. This in-depth abhi tak what I have to, why am I going little like in a very gist way, because last half an hour what I have covered, half an hour ho gaya na, 35 minutes ho gaye, ha, last half an hour what I have covered or detail mein I have done in time of supply. Now what I am teaching you revised tax invoice in detail I have done in registration topic, but दो तीन बार ये क्वेश्चन आ गया है तो इसको नोटबुक में पहले तो समझिए. Revised tax invoice. Look at the screen. Yesterday I made you write. If anyone has missed it, make sure you write it today. Pause the video and write it if you're watching recording, and live वाले students सब लिख लेंगे इसको. कल का वीडियो देख के ये सब लिख लो. एंड में जस्ट ई-वे बिल के एंड में 10 minutes में लिखाया था. What is revised tax invoice? Suppose you are liable to pay the GST from 1st April 23. Within 30 days, you have applied for registration on 10th April and you got the certificate also, right? Now, the day you are liable to pay the GST, you have to start output and input, but you can't issue a tax invoice. So from 1st April, the day you are liable, till the date you actually get the certificate, you need to issue revised tax invoice. Is this clear to all of you? For every invoice, you have to prepare revised tax invoice. But suppose if some invoices are for unregistered buyer, जिसको कोई invoice से कोई मतलब नहीं है, तो you can issue bulk consolidated revised invoice. I'll tell you about that little detail. But is my example clear? Third point we have written. Second I have skipped, अभी नहीं लिखा, अभी साथ में करेंगे. कितने डॉक्यूमेंट्स हो गए? टैक्स इनवॉइस. अभी हम क्या कर रहे हैं? बिल ऑफ सप्लाई स्किप्ड. अभी व्हाट वी आर डूइंग? हाँ, क्या पढ़ रहे हैं हम अभी साथ में? एग्जाम्पल देखो रिवाइज टैक्स इनवॉइस का. ये देखो, a registered person may within 1 month from the date of issue of certificate and in such manner issue a revised invoice against the invoices already issued, because until now you were not registered, now you are registered. So backdated you can issue revised invoice within 1 month of getting the certificate. हाँ, certificate आ गया ना, 2 महीने 3 महीने, कल कर दूं परसों कर दूं, ऐसे नहीं होता. Within 1 month from the date of issue of certificate. This is very important. Question are asked here. This provision is necessary as the person who becomes liable for registration has to apply for registration within 30 days. One second. Huh? Yeah. This provision is necessary as a person who becomes liable for registration has to apply for registration within 30 days of becoming liable. So when such an application is made within 30 days, the effective date of registration is the date on which he becomes liable. Thus, there would be time lag between the date of grant of certificate and the date of the registration. For supplies made during the period, date of the registration and date of grant of registration date is valid from the 1st of April. Because you applied in 30 days, your registration is valid from 1st April, but you got certificate on 20th of April. So every registered person who has been granted registration with effect from date earlier than the date of issuance may issue revised tax invoice for all the supplies. इसको underline करो. During the period starting from effective date of registration till the date of the supply. अभी तक आज का क्लास शुरू ही नहीं हुआ है. Until now it was time of supply. This better than this, I have given you a table also in the registration chapter beta. रजिस्ट्रेशन का क्लास देखोगे तो वहां टेबल भी मिल जाएगा. और ये एग्जांपल सॉल्व करो मेरे साथ. Rock Limited commenced business on 1st April. Turnover exceeded 20 lakhs on 5th of November. Oh, 5th of November you are liable for registration. Huh? Turnover has grown above 20 lakhs. Thus it becomes liable for registration. 5th April को तो शुरू किया. 5th of November. It applied for registration on 28th November. Superb. Within 30 days you applied for registration. And you got the certificate also. 3rd December. Right? Now, if you apply within 30 days and you get certificate, then even though certificate you have got here, but your registration is valid from 5/11. But until you don't get the certificate and GSTN number, you can't issue a tax invoice. But now can you go backdated from 3rd December, backdated 5/11, and can you issue revised invoice for this period? That's what is the answer. Since it is applied for registration within 30 days, it was granted registration with effect from 5th of November. Rock Limited may issue revised invoice in respect of taxable supplies between 5th November and 3rd December. Take 2 minutes time. There are 3-4 dates. Anyone in the class not? ये MCQ में आएगा, नहीं तो 2 marks का question आएगा. And I want all of you to write refer registration. 100 marks का पेपर पूरा देना है तो lot of linking should be there in the chapters. Is this clear to all of you? 5th April I started business, but when I crossed 20 lakhs, 5/11. So 5/11, yeah, Rock Limited will issue revised tax invoice for all the invoices, individual invoices. 30 अगर invoices बनाए तो सबको देना पड़ेगा revised tax invoice. From 5/11 to 3/12 जितने डीलर्स हैं सबको इनवॉइसेस देना पड़ेगा. Is your doubt clear now? Revised tax invoice in respect of taxable supplies effected between 5/11 to 3rd December. 5th November to 3rd December में जितना सेल्स हुआ है पूरे के लिए आपको रिवाइज टैक्स इनवॉइस देना पड़ेगा. All right, super clear. The word revised invoice should be written on the top. Name, address of supplier, nature of document, serial number, not exceeding 16 character, date of issue of document, name, address of the recipient, name, address, along with the state if the recipient is unregistered, serial number of date of corresponding tax invoice. ये जो वाला पार्ट है ना मैं बस रीड कर रही हूँ, आप भी रीड कर लो. इनवॉइस ये वो सब में क्लियर रहेगा. ओके, दिस इज माय गेसिंग, बट इससे भी अच्छा एग्जांपल आई हैव गिवन इन रजिस्ट्रेशन इन अ टैब्यूलर फॉर्म. तो वो भी पढ़ लो इसके साथ. यू कैन लाइक आई हैव रिटन रजिस्ट्रेशन, यू कैन राइट रजिस्ट्रेशन पेज नंबर 81. वहां पे आपको वो एग्जाम्पल मिल जाएगा तो एक ही बार पढ़ लो. चलो, revised tax invoice. Now you know one thing very difficult here. Dipti ma'am, you said 5/11 to 3/12, whatever invoices you have issued, you have to issue revised invoices. But oh my God, I have issued 100 invoices. Then if it is intrastate, ध्यान से सुनो. If it is intrastate, can I issue consolidated revised tax invoice? समझ में आ रहा है? अगर इंट्रास्टेट है जितने इनवॉइस उतने रिवाइज्ड इनवॉइस करेक्ट हैं, बट देन बिटवीन 5/11 to 3/12 I have sold 80 times to Rocky and we are in the same state. Can I issue one consolidated invoice to Rocky, revised consolidated tax invoice? Yes, intrastate. If it is interstate and the total amount of invoices is less than 2,50,000, then to no problem. And if the amount exceeds 2,50,000, then separate invoice देना पड़ेगा. ये आपको MCQ में आते हैं और मैंने इसको बहुत एकदम ऐसे कॉम्पैक्ट फॉर्म में लिखा है यहाँ पे कंपाइलर में. देखो, in case registered person may issue a consolidated revised tax invoice. Revised tax invoice is clear. Consolidated tax invoice and time limit कितना है? Within 1 month of registration. Just then you get the certificate from there. 1 month. Pay attention and mark it very important for MCQ. B2C. Okay. You can do consolidation only in B2C. हाँ, B2B में तो आपको पूरा देना पड़ेगा. Why B2B में invoice wise? अरे that person should take input tax credit. बट अगर B2C है, कंज्यूमर्स को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. माइन इज द टीवी शोरूम. From 511 to 512 last month, I have sold 80 TV. And out of that, 5 I have sold for people who are going to use it in business. And they are going to take input tax credit, separate invoice. Other 75 I have sold to consumers जो घर जाके बिल को फाइल में रख देंगे वारंटी के लिए. They are not going to take input tax credit. Then for them, what do I call? B2C. Everyone in the class is clear what is B2B? Business to business transaction where both are registered. Business to consumer where the buyer is unregistered. So in case of B2C, interstate supply up to 2,50,000. State-wise consolidated tax invoice. See, the consumer is not bothered कि आप मेरे को invoice दो, revised tax invoice दो, consolidate दो, to hell I care, right? But B2C interstate है, above more than 250, then recipient wise revised invoice. Recipient wise, because it is greater than 2,50,000. And B2C अगर intrastate है, within the same state है, up to 2,50,000 consolidated. No problem. Clear? Right? इससे related problem किए हैं. फिर भी अगर कुछ doubt है तो I'll check it now. Last time also I gave a very nice table for this. 1 second, huh? Please wait, dear students. 1 minute. So if there is any confusion, we can clear it. Only for unregistered. Registered to clear here. Chalo, here we have left the space. Now we'll do it. Consolidated revised invoice to unregistered recipient. If is registered तो separate ही देना पड़ेगा. अभी पहले we will write intrastate within the state. Consolidated revised invoice can be issued. 2,50,000 का कोई problem ही नहीं है intrastate में. If it is interstate, those who are in Zoom, they are very active with the chat box. Those who are live in YouTube, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Pucho. Interstate supply. Invoice less than 2,50,000 hai to state-wise consolidated revised invoice can be issued. State-wise. less than 2,50,000. If invoice का value greater than 2,50,000 है, तो recipient wise consolidated revised tax invoice, consolidated revised recipient wise. Is the presentation clear now? Dekho, now I don't know, you are seeing somewhere I'm going very fast, somewhere I'm going. I have promised 2 घंटे के अंदर पूरा चैप्टर खत्म, whether it is a regular class, ऐसे ही पढ़ेंगे इसको. चलो, so in case of intrastate में 2 लाख की लिमिट की जरूरत ही नहीं है, कंसोलिडेट ही होगा. Now revised invoice on account of demand. Yeah, this is very good. Until now we were talking for revised invoice because the registration is taken within 30 days, but invoice, I will say the certificate is coming little later. Now this is beautiful. So many times revised invoice mein government is saying that no, in this invoice tax is payable more, you have charged less, you have shown the sales of 8 lakhs, actually you have sold the goods 80 lakhs, you have cheated, there is tax evasion. Okay, now if there is a tax evasion, okay, then in that case what you have to do? Either students are not commenting or the live chats are not clear. Okay. Coming September also exams are going to be there. We know that, sure. So for that, the batches will be starting off from the second week of May. And if you are in Hyderabad, you can join the offline classes where the impact will obviously be more than this. फर्क तो पड़ता ही है, कुछ भी बोलो, ठीक है? I hope I have answered your doubt. चलो. Now coming back to tax invoice. Revised tax invoice in case where government is demanding you extra tax. In section 74, 129, 130, these are optional. I have given extra for reading. No need to learn them. Literally, I am saying कि इसको learn करो, इसको याद रखो तो रखो. यहाँ जरूरत नहीं है. Any invoice or debit note issued in persons of any tax payable in accordance with 74, 129, 130. 74. Determination of tax not paid or refund or ITC wrongly availed. Huh? Fake purchase invoices pe I availed ITC and output minus input I paid less tax. Then we came to know that this purchase invoice was fake. Right? Then I need to pay the tax which I wrongly availed as ITC by the revised invoice. So here boldly you have to write input tax credit is not allowed. अच्छा मैम, मैंने टैक्स का चोरी किया, अभी मैं टैक्स पे करने तैयार हूं, लेकिन आईटीसी तो दो, नहीं मिलता ना. 2 seconds, take a pause. And if you remember in income tax class, whenever undisclosed income is recovered, 60% tax, 25% surcharge, says के साथ 78% tax. Very beautiful amendment. So I am linking GST and income tax here. I say, yeah, department, my undisclosed money is recovered in raid and search. So I'm ready to pay 78% tax. But this is my black money from business and I have last year's business loss. Will you allow me to set off? No. Okay, I am an SSE above 60 years. Can you give me 3 lakh basic exemption? No. Whenever undisclosed income is caught up, no expense, no basic exemption, no losses. वैसे ही है. You are paying tax, you can claim input, output, all that magic goes on. But if you are paying tax because of the wrong means, you can't avail the input tax credit. समझ में आ रहा है? ऐसे लॉजिक से याद करोगे तो खुद से एनालाइज करके भी एग्जाम में you can write the answer. Determination of tax paid or short paid is clear. Detention, seizure and release of the goods in transit in spite of putting up the ban in the form of e-way bill, e-invoice, then also if the goods are overloaded, taken extra, and they are caught up the vehicle in between, you have to pay the tax. Acha, I'll pay the tax, but can I avail ITC? No. Confiscation of the goods and penalty. नहीं मिलेगा. देखो ये छोटे एग्जाम्पल्स हैं बट बहुत ब्यूटीफुल है. Aggregate turnover of Mahesh Limited exceed 20 lakhs on 10th of October. 10th of October, money Mahesh, you are liable. Better go for registration within 30 days. He applies for registration on 27th October. महेश ने आपकी बात सुन ली. अरे मैम ने बोला ना चलो 30 days में अप्लाई कर लेते हैं. And was granted registration certificate on 1st of November. Okay. See, certificate might come after 30 days, but just have you applied within 30 days? Yes. Then what is your date of registration? 10th October. But when did you get the certificate? 1st November. So 10th of October to 1st November, are you required to issue revised tax invoice? You are required to advise Mahesh as to what will be the effective date of registration. 10th October. The day you apply for registration within 30 days, then the date you are liable for GST, that's the date of registration. If you apply after 30 days, आप सो जा रहे घर जाके कल कर तू परसों कर देते. हाँ, in that case, if you apply after 2 months, then when you get the certificate, that will be the date of registration. Where an application is submitted within 30 days, okay, then effective date of registration will be 10th October. It becomes liable to registration. Further, it applied for registration in 30 days, and so his registration date is 10th October. Revised tax invoice shall be issued within 1 month, not from 10th October, from 1st of November. You want me to draw a diagram and show, or this is clear? समझ में आ रहा है आप सबको? Therefore, Mahesh Limited has to issue the revised tax invoice from 10th of October to 1st of November within 1 month from the date of registration. Revised invoice तो 10th October से 1st November, लेकिन कितने दिन में you have to issue the revised invoice is a separate question, can be asked in MCQ. 1 month from 1st of November. चलो. Ramesh Crane started his business on 1st August. His turnover exceed 20 lakh on 5th. It applied on 20th and grant on 6th. फिर से वही 30 days के अंदर कर दिया. तो this is 5th September is your date. And 6th September से 30 days के अंदर आपको देना पड़ेगा. I think this is very easy. Same ही है, बस date अलग अलग है. 5th is your date of registration because you applied within 30 days. And 6th October within 1 month. From 6th November tak you will have to issue consolidated revised tax invoice. In case of interstate, a consolidated revised cannot be issued in respect of unregistered recipient if the value of supply exceeds 2,50,000. What are the cases wherein tax invoice is not required? Two things we have completed until now: tax invoice and revised tax invoice. Now what we are doing? See, if you are really following, please make sure you are sharing this video with 5 of your friends and telling them, rather than leaving the whole topic, watch this 1.5 hour video and finish it off. Pakka, chhod ke nahi jana hai, because when it doesn't come, it doesn't come. When it comes for 4 to 5 months. What are the cases when tax invoice is not required? Yeah, when the value of supply is less than 200, recipient is unregistered, and he does not require a bill. And say, suppose, just a small example, I myself, I am a registered supplier of stationery, branded, Faber-Castell, Camlin. I have these agencies. So I myself, I am a registered supplier. But I am selling stationery to retailers. शॉप वाले भी लेके जाते हैं और स्टूडेंट्स भी लेके जाते हैं. And if the bill amount is less than 200, the buyer is unregistered and he's not even asking the invoice. So from morning to evening in season, I have sold 200 or say 300 compass boxes, geometry boxes of 180 rupees each. मैं ना आपको ऐसे एग्जाम्पल दे रही हूँ. तो मैंने आज ना सुबह से शाम में एक दिन में आई एम रजिस्टर्ड सप्लायर. Today, because of the ongoing season of school reopening, 180 rupees geometry boxes, I have sold 350 pieces. Because I am a registered supplier, if I make invoices, I'll go mad. How many invoices I'll make? And each bill is less than 200? Yes. The recipient, my consumer, is unregistered? Yes. Is he asking for the invoice? Huh. If these boxes are purchased by school, school might ask for bill. Then I will issue the tax invoice. बात समझ में आ रही है? How you go to buy gold and all, you say हाँ हाँ 2 लाख में आ जाएगा, ठीक है, लेकिन बिल चाहिए, हाँ, तो then GST लगेगा फिर. Have you heard people saying you want bill, then GST will be added? So what is happening here is invoice is not required if the amount is less than 200. Buyer is unregistered. Here also I need to issue the tax invoice कि मेरा तो output tally होना चाहिए ना in books and in the GST portal. So here also I can issue a consolidated tax invoice. Here also I can issue consolidated tax invoice for the whole day. 350 boxes into 180 एक ही bill बना के रख सकते हैं to tally your accounts. Is this clear to all of you? Okay. Sure, if you have some queries and you want me to reply related to your curriculum, related to your study plan, but please wait at the end of the class, beta. ठीक है? चलो. इसका problem which came in exam directly, that only I have picked up. So the small taxpayers like retailers doing large number of small transaction. I gave you the beautiful example of stationery wala selling the geometry boxes. Geometry box हम बोलते थे जब छोटे थे. मैंने 1990 में अपना 10th पास कर लिया. अभी तो क्या बोलते हैं पता नहीं. ज्योमेट्री बॉक्स जिसमें पूरा वो रहता है ना, डी एंड प्रोटेक्टर एंड ऑल दैट. या चलो. सो however they can issue one consolidated invoice at the end of the day and surely they'll do it. I don't know, have you seen any retail store around me? We are all into businesses, so I know this. What happens, business में क्या होता है जब शाम में when the retailers are putting all their stock inside 9 o'clock, they are closing the stock, no, one person is preparing the bill and preparing the bill. What's the practical aspect of that? From today morning to evening we have done good sales, but none of the customers asked bill. So just on a chitta, what is a chitta? Koi bill nahi, koi rubber stamp nahi, koi GST nahi. Just on a chitta we wrote the item, the total, and we gave them and they accepted. इतना रश था कि there was no time to prepare the bill. Followed all of you, unless you go to malls or supermarkets and all, there the bill is mandatory. So to make it very fast, they have scanned, one biscuit packet, one oil packet also scan karke automatically it comes, and then they put the quantity and bill is prepared. So like this. Okay. However, at the end of the day, they have to make one single invoice. However, this option is not available to supplier engaged in making the supply of service by way of exhibition of cinematography films and screen. Above provisions are also applicable to bill of supply. अरे ये बहुत beautiful है. Ma'am, I've gone to see a movie. Movie ticket was 150 rupees. I'm so not bothered. After taking the ticket, I just want to know my screen and my seat number. Yes or no? In multiplexes, there are 5-6 screens. So what is my screen and what is my, what do you call it? Seat number. Baat khatam. And I don't want the invoice also. So multiplexes are allowed that instead of tax invoice, whatever ticket they are issuing, that is deemed to be the tax invoice. कोई अलग से invoice issue करने की जरूरत नहीं है. See, it is not mandatory to issue a tax invoice if the value is less than 200. But multiplexes compulsory will issue a ticket. You want or not, you throw it in dustbin, but they will give you a ticket. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? हाँ, अगर आपको physical नहीं चाहिए तो मोबाइल में आ जाएगा, but ticket will come. So that's an exception to rule. चलो, very quickly this problem. Suresh Traders is dealing into stationery and they have sold the goods to Mahesh Traders, who's covered under composition levy, and we have sold him 185 without looking at the answer on the screen. Can you try to answer? Padho na 2-minute question and write the answer in the notebook if you are not having this material. Most of you who have received and taken a printout, you can solve it there. Half an hour more and the class will be done. Bolo. Mahesh Traders. I have sold the goods of 185. Arey 200 se kam hai. No need of invoice. No. You need to issue the invoice here. Why? Because he's registered. Okay, he's registered under section 10 composite supplier, but he's registered, no? That condition was bill should be less than 200, recipient should be unregistered, and he doesn't want a bill. Here though he is registered. Second, have you seen these questions in MCQs also? हाँ? तो पता नहीं कैसे स्टूडेंट छोड़ के चले जाते हैं टॉपिक. In fact, the best part of this topic is there is nothing binding. Like value of supply, one bit goes wrong, the whole question goes wrong. Here to half mark, one mark you will get. Kalpesh needs unregistered. Of course, I have to issue the bill because amount is more than 200. Now, Hussein painted unregistered. Yes, because the bill, though is unregistered, but I have to issue a bill because it's more than 200. But if he is unregistered, instead of issuing separate bill, I can issue a consolidated bill. Rakhi Charitable Trust, 195. No need of the bill. As it is, the recipient is unregistered, amount is less than 200 and they are not insisting on bill. Meena, a student unregistered, 140, not required. So none of the recipient required tax invoice determined in respect of which above Suresh Traders may issue a consolidated invoice. These two. इन सबको सेपरेट देना होगा बेटा, क्योंकि ये तो 200 से ऊपर है और ये तो रजिस्टर्ड है. हाँ, सीधा आंसर. Suresh can issue consolidated invoice for Rakhi and for Meena, consolidated. For others, it has to issue because the amount is above 200 and because Mahesh is registered. A registered person shall issue a separate invoice for supplying both taxable as well as exempted goods. 2 marks question from past exam. To one same person, I am supplying taxable goods also and exempted goods also. Very common example. Then can I issue one document? Yes. That document is called as invoice cum bill of supply. Invoice for the taxable part of the goods and bill of supply for the other part. So false. Where a registered person is supplying taxable as exempted goods, a single invoice may be issued. It is not necessary to issue a separate invoice. So this statement is false. An NBFC can issue consolidated tax invoice at the end of the month for supply made during the period. Yes. इसके बारे में detail आएगा और and there are 5 exceptions. NBFCs, banks, goods transport agencies, cinemas. Of course, they can issue consolidated invoice. Okay? Right. You know, you go for boating and then there are some government tourism places and in the boating also, because they have given a contract to third party, they charge the boating fees with GST. तो क्या सबको tax invoice देंगे? Huh? Right? No. So there are few cases where at the entry it is allowed. So one of them is NBFCs, banks, all. Where supplier of taxable services, insurance, banking company, financial institute. You all know what is NBFCs? Non-banking financial companies. Consolidated tax invoice or any other document for the supply of service at the end of the month were issued or made available, whether or not serially numbered and whether or not containing the address of the recipient, but containing other details. You know, when you issue consolidated tax invoice, you're saved from so much of data. रिसिपेंट का नेम एड्रेस मैं बोल रही हूँ, सुबह से शाम कितने लोग बोटिंग कर रहे हैं, तो आपका नाम बताओ, एड्रेस बताओ, कहां से बताओ. अरे बाबा, नो वन इज गोइंग टू टेक दैट. या चलो. नेक्स्ट इज बिल ऑफ सप्लाई. फ्रॉम हियर ऑनवर्ड्स द डॉक्यूमेंट्स आर वेरी इजी. Bill of supply, when you are a composite supplier, You cannot issue the tax invoice. You are yourself not availing ITC. You are breaking the chain of ITC. You cannot generate a tax invoice. So, आप क्या दोगे? Bill of supply. Instead of tax invoice, bill of supply will be given by a person who himself is registered, but he is selling exempted goods or he is covered under composition. Bill of supply issued by such person does not contain the detail pertaining to rate and amount and all. कुछ जरूरत नहीं है. Ramesh and Son is a manufacturer of goods who has opted for composition document. What document it will issue? It will issue a bill of supply to buyer and not tax invoice, as the buyer cannot avail ITC if they are buying from a composite dealer. Composite dealer क्या करता है? Input minus output और ऐसा सब he is not paying. Just on the turnover or the sales he is paying 1% and all. No bill of supply if the value is less than. The registered person may not issue a bill of supply if the value of goods or services is less than 200. Same control C, control V, what you did for tax invoice. What are the contents of tax invoice? Name, address, serial number, date of issue, recipient, HSN code, signature, all. Any tax invoice or other similar document issued under other act for time being in force in respect of non-taxable supply shall be treated as bill of supply. So whether you are selling exempted goods or composition, it is bill of supply. Who is eligible to issue invoice cum bill of supply? ये अभी जो हमने question में answer किया. A registered person supplying exempted goods or services or both. हाँ तो invoice cum bill of supply. MCQ. अभी हमने एक question भी किया ना. Receipt voucher. This is beautiful. When you receive advance, you have to give no received with thanks from CA Dipti Chheda 50,000 rupees towards advance booking of the function hall, blah blah blah. So registered person sell on receipt of advance, issue receipt voucher. Yeah. Name, address, serial number, date of issue, description, amount of advance, rate, सब आ जाएगा. अब इसमें ये important है exam point of view से. Am I exactly chart ke telling you what is important and not? Whenever you receive advance and you don't know whether you are going to charge 5%, 18%, 24%, then charge 18%. If you don't know the nature of supply, treat it as interstate supply. If you know it is intrastate, then do that, no problem. हो गया. Receipt voucher हो गया. Refund voucher. When you take the receipt and then you refund it, that, see, when you take advance, you have taken 1 lakh. When you have refunded, you have refunded 70,000. So refund the amount, refund the tax. 30,000 you will keep, forfeit. But have you given any services against 30,000? No. So whenever you receive advance and the booking is cancelled, there is no case of tax invoice because there is no supply of goods or services. तो फिर refund देते वक्त क्या document issue करोगे बेटा? Refund voucher. If इतना logical और इतना easy है ये topic, refund voucher if no supply is made and advance is refunded. Yeah. When on receipt of advance payment, the registered person issues receipt voucher, but subsequently no supply is made, no tax invoice, and it is refunded. Content of refund voucher. A refund voucher shall contain following particulars: name, address, consecutive serial number, date of invoice, and sub. ठीक है. The most crucial case, RCM. Supplier is unregistered. Buyer or the recipient is registered. Who will pay the tax? Recipient. Under RCM basis. Who will take the credit? Recipient. Supplier is supplying you 1 lakh rupees goods. On that 18,000 you yourself are paying to government and taking the credit. So supplier can't issue the tax invoice because he is not paying the tax to government. And you can't issue the tax invoice to yourself and because this is not your sale, this is your purchases. Are you understanding the dilemma of the recipient? But you want to claim input tax credit because you are a registered recipient and you have paid the tax, no? You want to claim the ITC. तब फिर आप क्या यूज करोगे? Payment voucher. Payment voucher. Literally, they'll give you one case in exam and they'll give you all 3-4 documents name. receipt voucher, a refund voucher, payment voucher, tax cum invoice, which one you will issue? अब बोल देना. Example clear है? Doubt है तो पूछो. You want me to repeat or clear? A registered person who is liable to pay tax under 93 shall issue an invoice or both received by him from supplier who is not registered. Supplier तो खुद ही registered नहीं है, वो कहाँ से tax invoice देगा? But I want to claim ITC. That is my zid. And I cannot be denied ITC. Then why would I pay tax under RCM? एक तो ITC भी नहीं मिल रहा है. Followed or not? Very practical. So registered person who is liable to pay tax under ITC will issue a payment voucher. Contents of payment voucher: name, serial number, description, amount, rate, separate GST, place of supply, and all. Okay. Tax invoice in special cases. I told you there are relaxations that proper tax invoice नहीं है तो जो document है it will be treated as tax invoice. For example, insurance, banks, and all. No serial number is required, no proper. And when the banks and insurance company issue consolidated tax invoice, they are not even writing the name of the buyers and customer. I'll give you one best example for this. Listen, when you are taking banking service, have you seen every 3 months in your account, SMS charges are deducted along with GST, checkbook charges along with GST, for maintenance charges, locker rent. So all this is deducted. Do the banks give you invoice? There are 1500 customers in this bank who have lockers. तो क्या सबको invoice देते बैठेंगे? Right? So they'll prepare one single invoice and in that client's name may not be there. No problem. So very practical cases I am seeing, cases wherein tax invoice is not required. I'm not reading word to word. I hope that's okay. GTA, goods transport. And this is the recipient company. They are paying 5% tax on the basis of RCM. Where the supplier of taxable services GTA and supplier shall issue a tax invoice. See, GTA can himself pay routine tax, then to no problem. बात समझ में आ रही है? GTA himself paying the routine tax, then it's not a problem. And goods transport wale, they use that receipt. They call it consignment receipt or freight receipt. Consignment receipt ही बोलते हैं. Gross weight, consigner कौन है, consignee क्या है, details of goods, destination, and all. The person in charge of conveyance shall carry a copy of tax invoice or bill of supply. But additional requirement is कि if it is through GTA, along with the tax invoice, bill of supply. Bill of supply क्योंकि मैं तो RCM में tax pay करती नहीं, आप ही pay कर देना जब आपको goods Delhi में मिले तो. But along with that, I should have the consignment note. So that is also kind of document. Then next one is passenger transport service. Ticket is treated as invoice. We are seeing exception to rule. Like I told you the example of movie ticket also. Even if it is e-ticket in your mobile phone, it's as good as invoice. Same way when you are traveling by two-tier AC, your AC fare has inclusive of GST. तो उसमें तो इंक्लूसिव ऑफ जीएसटी लिखा रहता है, जीएसटी अलग से नहीं है. एंड इफ इट इज ग्रुप बुकिंग तो इंडिविजुअल पैसेंजर्स का नाम हो ना हो, टिन नंबर कुछ भी, जीएसटीएन नंबर, नथिंग इज रिक्वायर्ड. सो पैसेंजर टिकट इज ट्रीटेड एज इनवॉइस, मूवी टिकट इज ट्रीटेड एज इनवॉइस. ट्रांसपोर्टर है तो एडिशनल कंसाइनमेंट नोट लगेगा. बैंक्स के केस में दीज आर एक्सेप्शन टू रूल वेयर दे कांट इशू द टैक्स इनवॉइस. ओके. Transportation of goods without issue of invoice on basis of delivery chala. For example, I am not selling the goods, but I am selling the goods to my job worker. तो document तो चाहिए ना, delivery chala. अच्छा, I am sending the goods in 3 lots. First lot, second lot, third lot. First lot के साथ ही invoice भेज दिया. Second lot, third lot के time delivery चालान तो बना सकते हैं ना, referring the invoice number. Cases where delivery challan can be issued. The consignor may issue delivery challan serially numbered not exceeding 60 digit in one or multiple series at the time of removal of the goods. Supply of liquid gas where quantity at the time of removal is not known. Transport of goods for job work. Transport of goods for reason other than by way of supply. I'll tell you, I have purchased a refrigerator for my office purpose and I want to give it back to company because it's within warranty. तो जैसे ठीक है हमारा ऑटो वाला आके लेके जाएगा आपका रेफ्रिजरेटर सर्विसिंग करके देके जाएगा. So when I अभी यहाँ इनवॉइस तो नहीं होगा ना, this is not sales return तो delivery. Such other supplies that may be notified. So basically job work, repairing purpose, whenever the goods are moving other than by way of supply, they'll move with the help of delivery challan. Literally little exhaustion is there because today also 3 hours class we have taken in the morning also. ठीक है, अब कुछ ज्यादा बचा नहीं है, इसको खत्म करते हैं. Contents of the delivery challan, name and address of the number of the delivery challan, कंसाइनर कंसाइनिटी की डिटेल, HSN कोड, क्वांटिटी सब आएगा. ठीक है ना. जॉब वर्क के लिए भेज रहे हो तो भी आप इनवॉइस की तरह डिटेल तो पूरा लिख दो. आई एम सेंडिंग द गुड्स टू कंपनी अंडर वारंटी एंड आफ्टर रिपेयरिंग इट विल कम बैक स्टिल डिलीवरी चैनल. 3 copies of delivery challenge because there's movement of goods. Consigner, consignee, transporter. Where goods are being transported on delivery challan, the same shall be declared as specified in the e-way bill. ई इनवॉइस की जगह अगर डिलीवरी चालान है तो वो डिक्लेयर करेंगे वे बिल में. वे बिल तो जरूरी है, चाहे गुड्स सेल करो या रिपेयरिंग के लिए भेजो, कुछ भी करो. Tax invoice to be issued after delivery where goods being transported are for the purpose of supply to recipient, but tax invoice could not be issued at the time of removal. Supplier shall issue a tax invoice after the delivery of the goods. When goods are transported in CKD, SKD, knockdown condition, पूरे parts में, जैसे cycle अलग अलग parts में आती हैं, right? When goods are being transported, the supplier shall issue complete invoice before the dispatch of first consignment. Supplier shall issue delivery challan for subsequent consignment, giving reference of invoice. Each consignment shall be accompanied by copies of delivery challan. I have sold you one lift for 10 lakh rupees, but अभी तो मैंने लिफ्ट के दरवाजे और मोटर भेजी है. Then I will sell the pump, then I will send the wires. So like this delivery challan is just basically for the movement. Goods moved within the state or from state of registration to another state on approval basis. Removal under the cover of delivery challan. Okay. Abhi these are exceptions. Like बहुत common है. I told you one example, no, that I am registered in Hyderabad, but I am taking my goods and going for exhibition in Mumbai. So like that, this is supplier of jewelry and he's going to different state. There if the people will buy jitna hoga, I will pay the tax. Okay. So can the goods be moved with the help of the delivery challan? Yes. Clarification is given. Will you please read it once or you want me to read now only? Easy है, बहुत easy. जिस समझ में आया. See, jewelry is brought from Kolkata to Hyderabad on approval basis. पसंद आया तो रखेंगे. So with delivery challan, no, if I accept, then we will prepare the invoice. Artwork when supplied on approval basis, remove on delivery challan and keep it in your gallery. When it is sold, we will prepare the invoice. This we have covered in supply chapter also. Interstate supply of artwork. Supplies of artwork from one state to another state being interstate supplies attract IGST. Okay, right. So delivery challan आप यहाँ पे तो use कर ही सकते हैं within the state. On selection by buyer, GST is levied. It is only when the buyer selects a particular artwork displayed at the gallery and all, that time delivery challan को convert करके we will prepare the tax invoice. Maybe within 6 months with the help of the delivery challan, my paintings may come back to me. Okay, chalo. So here we have completed all the documentation except e-invoicing and QR code, which I am doing now in coming 10 minutes. But for some basic things, prohibition of unauthorized collection of tax. Unregistered person cannot collect the tax, and registered person can collect only as per act. Suppose registered person is selling textile on which GST rate is 5%. Can they collect 18%? No. It's a fraud. Huh? And whatever tax is there, you have to show separately on the invoice. ये section 30 to 33. तीन ही section है 31, 32, 33. अब ये 34 आ गया last credit and debit note. I have told you yesterday. Let us start with credit note. When I sell you the goods, what entry I make? Party to sales. Party को हमने क्या किया? Debit. But अगर हम sales return करें तो हम पार्टी को क्या कर रहे हैं? क्रेडिट. Whenever I am crediting the party, I will issue credit note. Accounts knowledge in GST. Where a tax invoice has been issued for the supply of any goods or service and taxable value in tax invoice is found to exceed the taxable value in respect of such supply. Tax value is found to exceed, मतलब मैंने tax value 1 lakh charge कर दिया. Actually, I have sold you the goods of 10,000. By mistake, 10 extra. So 90,000 I can return or discount, or maybe tax charge is found to be excess. By mistake, party to sales I did with 18%. I should have done it 5%. Where the goods supplied are returned, or where goods or services are found to be defective, or registered person who has supplied such goods may issue to recipient a credit note. स्ट्रेट थ्योरी क्वेश्चन फॉर, अभी तक मैंने नहीं लिखा है ये चैप्टर में. पहला फर्स्ट थ्योरी क्वेश्चन, what are the cases wherein credit note may be issued? When we are crediting the party because of excess taxable value, excess tax, sales return, or there is defect in the services or goods, तो discount होगा. I have sold you goods of 1 lakh. You are saying, ma'am, the quality is not at all good. चलो कोई नहीं, 90 कर देते हैं. तो 10,000 तो I'll have to reverse, no? So either I have to issue a fresh invoice and all, or with the, so you can say debit note and credit note are complementary to the tax invoice rather than issuing another tax invoice. Take a pause and tell me, are the reasons clear? फिर से एक बार, third time. When I am crediting the party, I want you to write these journal entries. Bilkul, this is the technique so that you don't go wrong in exam. When I am crediting the party, I'll issue you credit note. तो या तो sales return होगा, या sales is inflated, or tax is inflated, or you have to reduce the value for any other reason, it's defective, or sales return, and so on. Details of credit note to be given in return. In the credit note, oh, this is not changed, but not later than. You know, whenever you have invoiced in financial year 23-24, then by November, it's not September, 30th of November, or the due date of furnishing the return, whichever is earlier, tab tak you have to issue a credit note. I want to repeat, whatever invoices I have generated, isko sudhar lo, galti hai ye. Whatever invoices I have issued in the previous year 23-24, for that I can issue credit note up to end of the financial year, that is 30th November 24, or the date of furnishing annual return. This is a very important amendment. It's not September, it's November. Output tax liability of supplier not to be reduced if the tax incidence is passed on. No reduction in the output tax liability of supplier shall be permitted if incidence of tax and interest is passed on. Matlab, listen, I have sold you the goods, you have taken the input tax credit, you have passed on. Now you cannot reverse. Iska, I want all of you to write here, refer section 15. credit note for pre-decided discount. याद है? Okay, if throughout the month you buy 100 boxes, next month we will give you this much discount. So if this was pre-decided, you can reduce it from the value of the supply, and you have to reverse the ITC also. Section 15 value of supply. That's what they are talking here. You'll have to do it. If not, you are not allowed. Same way, debit note. What is the entry? Party to sales. 500. मैम एक जीरो कम लगाया. Actually, party to sales was 5,000. Now either 4,500 I can issue additional invoice. Additional मतलब और एक नया invoice. Or I can issue a debit note. When taxable value is found less or tax charged is less, so registered person who has supplied such goods shall issue to the recipient a debit note containing such other cases. ठीक है? Details of debit note to be given in the return for the month during which debit note has been issued and tax liability shall be adjusted. अच्छा मुझे ये बताओ, listen all of you, when you issue debit note or credit note, is your output and input tax affected? Yes, for sure. When I am changing my from 500 to 5,000 and when I am issuing a debit note, this sales was of April 23. I am issuing debit note in December 23. So in the January 23, when I pay December ka tax on 4,500, I have to pay the tax. So debit note and credit note will very well be a part of the invoice for the GSTR return. समझ में आ रहा है? There is no prescribed format of debit note you can issue. अब ये क्वेश्चन 4 मार्क्स के लिए पूछा है, इतना इजी और क्या है इसमें पता नहीं. हाँ, प्रॉब्लम नंबर 11. या चलो, just 2 things are left, e-invoice and QR code ये करने के बाद. Rushabh is a registered supplier. Okay. The value of supply charged in invoice is 2,60,000. Okay. Against taxable value 230. So when I supplied the invoice 260, जबकि 230 था, तो sales की value कम करना है, तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? Credit note. It's like reducing the sales, no? Tax charged is 33,000 against the actual tax liability 65,000 due to wrong HSN. Wrong coding की वजह से I have charged. So 33 के साथ 65 is my tax. So if tax is less, charge it more. So here which note now? Debit note. For how much amount? 33, 43, 53, 63 and 65. 32,000 I will debit the party more. That by mistake we charged you 33. Actually your tax is 65. Value charged in invoice number 520 as against actual value 420 due to wrong quantity considered while billing. Quantity गलत हो गई. 520. Whereas actually I have sold only 420. तो credit note value को कम कर दो. कम करोगे तो party को credit. Followed? Show who shall issue debit or credit note, whether debit or credit note has to be issued for each. Yes. What is maximum time limit available for declaring the credit note in GSTR return? 30th of November 2024 or due date of filing your annual return, whichever is earlier. Write down. 30th of November of 2024, end of the financial year. और ये बहुत पूछ रहे हैं आजकल एग्जाम में कहीं ना कहीं. Okay. Manmohan Textile has sent clothing for dyeing to job worker. It wishes to know whether it needs to invoice, tax invoice. Arey no. Only delivery challan se काम चलेगा. 4 marks question. Manmohan has to issue only a delivery challan and not tax invoice for the purpose of transportation of goods for job worker. Delivery challan serially numbered all, date and GSTN or HSN or sub. ठीक है, चलो. Zing Kolkata is engaged in trading transmitters. Zing has sent 500 units of transmitter Chennai on sale return basis, out of which 500 units, 300 have been sold. Okay. So that too from delivery challan we can prepare the invoice. 200 bache, 150 units have been brought back. Okay, so reversed. 50 units are neither sold nor brought back. तो जिस दिन बेचे वहां से 6 months, 25 plus 6 months wait, and then it is assumed to be sold. Explain the provisions under GST relating to all this. Goods sold on approval basis. The tax invoice shall be issued before or at the time of 6 months from the date of removal, whichever is earlier. 500 have been sent, 300 are sold within 6 months. So tax invoice for 300 needs to be issued before 20th July. The day you accept, उसके पहले invoice आ जाएगा आपको. Okay. Remaining 200 units neither have been sold nor brought back till the expiry. मतलब जो 150 units have been brought back to Kolkata and balance 50 units. Okay. So neither been sold nor brought back, not remaining 200. If they are rejected but they are not brought back, so it will be deemed as accepted movement of goods. But if they are brought back, then we will do it only for 50. सिर्फ 50 के लिए करेंगे. Thus, tax invoice for 200 units need to be issued by 6 months. 28th May से 6 months. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 खत्म. 2011 को खत्म हो जाएगा. Thus tax invoice is to be issued. Actually they have written 2011. 2011 6 months are over, so 21st 11 it should be. Last one. See, 4 marks, 3 marks question. I have written the marks also कि कितने easy question आते हैं. One consolidated e-way can be generated for multiple invoices. Comment on the validity of the statement. One e-way bill for multiple invoices? No. Multiple invoices cannot be clubbed. जितने invoice है उतने way bill. If multiple invoices are issued by supplier to recipient, then multiple e-way bills have to be generated. Thus, for each invoice, one way bill. Way bill हमने next chapter में किया है, but इसी का part है तो यहाँ लिखा है. One e-way bill has to be generated irrespective by the same or different. ये कल आपको diagram draw करके बताया था कि 4 invoice हैं, तो can we prepare consolidated way bill because all the 4 invoices are loaded in same vehicle? Answer is no. However, after generating all these e-way bill, one consolidated way bill can be prepared for transportation purpose if they are going by one vehicle. Consolidated way bill can be prepared by transporter because in the same vehicle, but he should have the link of the original 4 way bills. Clear? So here we have, see, I have written here, don't postpone, kill the work now. ये करना है वो करना है सोचने में ही ज्यादा टाइम लग जाता है, उतने देर में तो कर लो. Take a pause. I am going to e-invoice last part now, but check your notebook. सब clear है या नहीं? Tax invoice हो गया, bill of supply composite वाला हो गया, revised tax invoice I have made you write, invoice cum bill, taxable exempt, receipt voucher, refund voucher, debit note के लिए मैंने diagram भी बताया, credit note के लिए बताया, and one line I have left here for the payment voucher. Payment voucher. This B2C इसको number नहीं 10 number में. Payment voucher कहाँ use होता है? अभी हमने देखा ना, why we have missed out, and I have not even made you write the delivery wala. So delivery challan and payment voucher. See, this is all to give you a gist. Payment voucher. Supplier unregistered, recipient registered, paid tax on RCM, who? Recipient, ITC availed, recipient will issue payment voucher. Please write down. As I was also confused for 2 minutes, even you can be confused. So better write it. Payment voucher. कौन issue करेगा? Recipient. And the 10th one I want all of you to write, please. Delivery channel. Goods are sent to job worker for reason other than supply. As I said, sometimes the goods are also sent for repairing purpose. Okay. पूछो कोई डाउट है तो. Shall I pause? You want to read all the documents are clear? Okay, limits I wanted you to write ना. Please थोड़ा सा लिख लो. ये देखो limits लिखेंगे. E-way bill mandatory above 50,000. Consignment value. If consignment value exceeds तो way bill. अभी हम कर रहे हैं e-invoice. If preceding previous year, last year, my turnover, TURNOVR, turnover exceeds 5 crores, then this year it is mandatory for me, instead of manual or computerized invoice, e-way invoice लगेगा. वो क्या है, कैसे होता है, अभी I'll tell you. And then QR code or dynamic QR code if the preceding previous year turnover is greater than 500 crores. ये तीनों लिमिट्स आपको एक साथ याद रखना है. If the consignment value exceeds 50,000 including taxes, e-invoice if preceding year the turnover exceeds 5 crores, QR code if the turnover is more than 500. See, QR code is if your turnover is more than 500 crores, you give some facility to the buyer to pay you online. Scanner लगाओ, बैंक का scanner, invoice में scanner दे दो, so they can scan and pay there itself. Followed, right? Sure. So these limits we have written so that we remember it all together. चलो जल्दी से now way. See, e-way bill क्या, e-way bill तो हो गया. E-invoice doesn't mean we are generating the invoice from the portal. Invoice we are generating in our software, Tally, Excel, जो भी आप use कर रहे हो. Then those invoices are to be uploaded at the portal, and portal will give you invoice reference number. Through that invoice reference number, directly your buyer will get auto populated GSTR 2A. आपके GSTR 1 में सब auto populate हो जाएगा. Means the department is having control on your invoices. Once you do e-invoicing, can you change invoice? No. Yeah, but e-invoice can be changed. अगर कुछ mistake है तो, पर invoice generate करने के बाद e-invoices you will get an IRN number. And nowadays, so at a click of a button, e-invoice, if you put e-invoice में जो unique IRN, invoice reference number, what you get, if you put, your way bill is also generated there itself. So this is very much smart work on the portal, and they are also having the control that there is no tax evasion. Just wait 2 minutes, 5 minutes. जो जरूरी है उतना ही मैं करा रही हूँ. Way bill एकदम brief में. For e-invoicing, the term I am using is IRP, Invoice Registration Portal. I will generate the invoice in my system. I will upload it on the Invoice Registration Portal, e-invoice, and there they will give me an IRN. It is referred from invoice number. Okay. See, e-invoice is not generating invoice on government portal. Taxpayers will generate invoice in their own software. These invoices will be reported in IRP. On reporting, IRP will generate IRN, digitally sign it and return it. A GST e-invoice is valid only with the IRN. When you upload your invoices detail, this number to this number, they will give you IRN. Okay, that IRN, if you put, you can generate waybill. Classes of person who are required mandatory to issue e-invoice. First, though, the limit was 500 crores, then 200 crores, then 100, then 50. And now 23 and 24, it is 5 crores. So all the registered businesses with aggregate turnover greater than 5 crores in any financial year is mandatorily required to issue e-invoice. Yes. What is the benefit? Auto reporting of invoices in the GSTR1. Auto generation of the waybill. Substantial reduction in the transcription errors and all. Early payment, cost reduction, improved efficiency. Even for the buyer, GSTR 2B autofill हो जाएगा. Okay. Situations in which e-invoices is applicable or not applicable, दोनों. Supply of goods and services to a registered person, applicable. Export को applicable है. Supplies where taxes paid on RCM, e-invoice applicable. Where specified categories of supplies are notified under unregistered, okay, then it is not applicable. Few cases it is applicable RCM में, few cases it is not applicable. Unregistered registered है, but 93 वाले कौन से हैं? Advocate, tribunal, वो सब में applicable. Import of the goods not applicable. B2C e-invoice is not applicable. Invoices issued by invoice service distributor, head office branch wala, not applicable. If you remember this, okay. Otherwise, literally write here R for reading. खत्म करो, ज्यादा ऐसे लोड मत लो उसका. No requirement of issuing invoice copies in duplicate. E-invoicing is all in the online portal. आपके नाम से सब डिटेल है, कोई प्रिंट आउट लेने की जरूरत नहीं. Exemption from e-invoicing. SEZ are not required e-invoicing. Insurance, banking, NBFCs, because they don't have tax invoice only proper. तो e-invoice की किधर बात कर रहे हैं? GTA, supplier of passenger transport ticket, person supplying services by way of multiplexes or government department. Check. ये government department अब भी add हुआ है. I want all of you to write for TDS and TCS. For collecting TDS and TCS, even government department को रहेगा, पर e-invoice की जरूरत नहीं. If a taxpayer is having aggregate turnover more than 5 crore, but they are exempt, like SEZ might have 15 crores, but they are not required e-invoicing. Banks, they are not having e-invoicing. GTA, passenger transport, cinematography film wale, then they have to give this declaration. We hereby declare that though our aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year exceeds this limit, we are required to prepare an invoice in terms of provisions and so on. ठीक है, clear है आप सबको? Rihan Limited is having aggregate turnover of more than 50 crores, and for SEZ it is 30 crore. For DTA it is 20 crore. So SEZ के लिए तो e-invoicing जरूरी नहीं है, but DTA के लिए yes, because the turnover is exceeding 5 crore. What's the answer? Here SEZ is exempt from e-invoicing, but e-invoicing is mandatory for DTA, है ना? चलो. Overall flow of e-invoice. Please read this. This will clear lot of misconception. It's a procedure. They will not ask, but it's a common logic, you can say. Taxpayers create invoice in their own accounting billing ERP system. Taxpayers upload the invoice in the invoice reporting portal. IRP will generate IRN. Suppliers share the e-invoice with receiver along with QR code. Every invoice will have unique QR code. So उसमें QR code में टैक्स का अमाउंट एंड सब कुछ अलग से दिया रहेगा एंड सप्लायर कैन just scan the QR code and it's like fast payment and valid payment bank to bank, no cash payment. IRP returns e-invoice to the supplier. IRP digitally signs e-invoice and add QR code. QR code क्या है? You know, in the COVID time, so many hotels, if we go post COVID also, even the menus you have to scan. QR code is put up on the table, scanner रहता है, उसे scan कर लो. So QR code for every invoice, e-invoice is generated, and in the invoice that scanner is there. So you can just scan it and make the payment to the supplier. The same thing I have given in diagram. IRP sends e-invoice and it is auto-populated in GSTR1, GSTR2A for the recipient and even in the e-waybill. तीनों चीज पैरेलली हो जाएगी on the portal, saving so much of time. Cancellation of the reported invoice is allowed by seller by reporting IRP on the IRP portal within the specified time. So you can cancel, but you cannot amend it. Amend of reported e-invoice already uploaded is possible, but you can't amend the invoice. Invoice change नहीं कर सकते. जो e-invoice number you have uploaded detail, उसमें कुछ change करना है तो you can. In case of e-invoice, physical copy is not required. Invoice required in case of SEZ and all, the specifically they'll have to write. Tax invoice is to not applicable because SEZ mein there is no tax, dear students. Yeah, but then whatever you generate over there, invoice, supply meant for export or SEZ, ऐसे bold में लिखना होगा, because either they don't get the credit or if they get the credit, no, it is refunded. Applicable of e-invoicing to government department PSUs registered solely for the purpose of deduction of TDS as per the provisions of 51. I told you. इस साल से गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट और PSUs को भी TDS काटने के लिए नहीं से. QR code, I told you what it is. Why do you call it dynamic QR code? Array menus and all, one scanner is there, one QR code. But when it is invoices, for every invoice, you will have unique dynamic code. Yeah. When your aggregate turnover of the preceding year exceed 500 crores, you are doing a huge business. And to your buyer, you are not even giving QR code facility to make online payment. Huh? Not good. So like this, it is mandatory to have dynamic QR code. This is basically for B2C, dynamic QR code. When you are selling it to retail unregistered people. Dynamic QR code is made available to the buyer by such registered person through digital with payment cross-reference shall be deemed to having QR code. The purpose of provision is to enable and encourage digital payments where buyer can scan and make the payment through their mobile wallets and online mode. Today, many shops have static QR code, which is scanned by the buyer, but the buyer has to enter the amount to be paid in the shop and all. वो स्कैनर अलग है जो कार्डबोर्ड वाला स्कैनर होता है जैसे पेटीएम और बैंक का होता है. QR code is in the invoice itself. Same like e-invoice, QR code is not applicable to bank, GTA, passenger transport, cinematography, and one more added is OIDAR. Because for these services invoice ही नहीं है तो QR code की कहाँ बात कर रहे हैं. No QR code in case of exports. Okay. Because basically the purpose of QR code is B2C. What all details should be captured in that QR code scanner? Supplier का GST and UPID, bank details, IFSC, invoice number, total amount, GST, and in short, minimum detail required to make quick payment. Khatam. Compliance with the dynamic QR code. पढ़ना है तो पढ़ो, नहीं तो छोड़ दो. I've given the gist also at end. What I'm saying is, sometimes I've given the QR code, still the person makes payment in cash or by other modes. Then is it deemed that I have complied with the QR code? Yes. If the supplier displays QR code, but the customer opts to make payment without the QR code, and supplier provides cross-reference of payment modes without the use, okay, then it's okay. और कोई मोड ऑनलाइन पेमेंट से दे दिया, तो ऐसे बहुत सारे 5-6 केसेस हैं. आई तो थिंक ओके, इतना डिटेल नहीं चाहिए. If QR code is provided on invoice issued to a person having UIN instead of invoice number and all, if part payment has already been received, समझ में आ रहा है. क्यूआर कोड में तो पूरा इनवॉइस है, लेकिन पार्ट उसने एडवांस कैश में बैंक से कैसे तो दे दिया, देन इट इज सेड दैट यू हैव कंप्लाइड. ओके, I know I have gone lot of gist way. I'll agree. I'm always being very honest. मैंने कहीं कहीं आपको डिटेल पढ़ाया आज, खास करके 3 लिमिट्स. ई-वे बिल, व्हाट इज द लिमिट? 50,000 per consignment. E-invoicing, what is the limit? Last year's turnover exceeding 5 crores. Dynamic QR code, where it is mandatory, last year's turnover exceeding 500 crores. Okay, so just remember the gist of this chapter. Repeat only this much rather than diving into deep. और हर एक में क्या क्या जरूरत है पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है, एक बार पढ़ लो, इनफ है. Questions, all past exam question for 4 mark 3 mark we have covered. They are really easy. And if you see the paper pattern, question number 1 to 8 MCQs are there. Paper pattern and all before exam again I'll revise in a separate video, paper pattern and ABC and all. But मैं आपको क्या बोल रही थी? हाँ, your 4th or 5th question is the place where registration and tax invoice is asked, and इसके against 5 marks इतना easy question है. Like 5 marks is value of supply, 4A, and 4B is write a short note on dynamic QR code. So you will not like to miss that, no? Okay, and even if they ask you write short note, you write in pointers. Pencil is not allowed. Okay, I use pencil always, but it's not allowed in final exam. But with the same pen, can you underline the clue words in your points? Like in income tax paper, I say DT may be 180 days he is present. So to conclude, Mr. Rahim is a non-resident. Underline kar do usko, it will be clear. Chalo. Are you all there? Ayush and Chandan and all, you had some doubts. My topic for today is over. Now 2 more small topics left. One is payment वाला, वो तो बहुत easy है. Electronic cash ledger, credit ledger, आधा तो आप सुन चुके हैं दूसरे topics में. And then returns. Return also no need to dive in deep. In one table we will see all the gist. GSTR 1, 5, 6, 9. कौन करेगा, कब करेगा, एक ही टेबल में पूरा देख लेंगे. Because MCQ is also there and 3 marks question is also there. Okay, so these topics we will do in line. Last I'll be doing exemptions. Any suggestions from your side are welcome. Okay, yes, I'll separately solve the MTP for CA students also, for CMA students also. Do you have any doubt? Otherwise we are closing the class. समझ में आया या नहीं, ऑनेस्टली बोलो. टैक्स इनवॉइस, रिवाइज टैक्स इनवॉइस, रिसीट वाउचर, पेमेंट वाउचर, रिफंड वाउचर, डिलीवरी चालान, जॉब वर्क. आई नो समवेयर इट इज टेक्निकल, लाइक SEZ के केस में डायनामिक QR कोड इज नॉट देयर, हाँ, ई इनवॉइस इज नॉट देयर. डन. Okay, that's all for today. रुक जाना नहीं, तू कहीं हार के. Don't give up coming at this stage की will I be able to do or not. Doubt and fear is going to be there. It's unavoidable, and up to a limit, it's healthy. Literally, as a teacher, I'm saying that fear keeps us on toes. नहीं करो बाबा, तो फिर option 2 में जाना पड़ेगा. Maybe or store or wherever you don't want to work, you might go. So you will be focused, and little bit doubt always comes now and then. Am I on the right track? Face it head on. पार्क इट ऑन द बैक सीट पे बिठा दो, एक साइड डाउट को बिठाओ, एक साइड fear को बिठाओ, and you drive your vehicle with confidence. So don't stop and don't give up. Continue a journey with headstrong confidence and with lot of passion. That's all for today. Thank you so much. Bye bye, all of you. See you in the next class. Tomorrow we are not taking any class. One day rest. Enough of over exertion for me. For you, you can plan.